Yo, welcome to a Chief Keef Futuristic Beat tutorial. Let's get right into it at once. Alright, so this is this got a lot of melody parts. I think it got it got like 7. So I'll go through what I've done. So first of all, I made a string pattern with some light strings. Like these are just I have second strings too, which are more energetic and takes up all the space basically. But these are just to add to that. So this is how this sounds. Yeah, shit, I forgot to mute the tag. There it is. Alright, so what I've done for this is just starting off basic, 2 spaces in between, 3 spaces in between. I did it in sharp this time, and the middle note actually sounded good when it wasn't in sharp. And then I wanted like an uplifting second part over here. So I just played around with the middle note. Like this got 4 spaces in between, and then it got 2. And it like makes it more energetic towards the end of this bar. And then I added the regular strings, almost exactly the same pattern. So what I've done is like I've added single notes right here, right here, right here, and right here, and here as well. And what you will hear what they do. I'll just yeah, I've muted that already. So this is how it sounds. Yeah, you see how it adds a lot of energy, like dun dun dun. Yeah, it's like you can play around with the notes here. You just place them somewhere in between every hit, and you will probably find a place where it sounds good. Like it always sounds good if it's in the same. Like here you see G sharp 6, G sharp 6. Yeah, and this, if you want it to be like go up to more energetic, you just put it up over here. So yeah, that's like a tip to change it up with the strings. And then I built the brass out of the strings, so starting in the C6, and this is how it sounds. Yeah, so this is like what carries the beat almost. Like this is the most energetic part of the beat, or it's the most energetic part that plays throughout the beat. And you can have these like single hits like this fast because it changes up the pattern and adds a lot of energy. So yeah, I recommend playing around with the brass like this. And this is like a very light sounding brass because I wanted this beat to be very happy, like towards the more happy side, and not have the darker tones which are more aggressive or sad. So yeah, this is in the same type of keys as the strings. Then I added like a Caribbean plucked melody, which is the main melody or whatever you call it. Like this is the main part, I would say, of the beat. It sounds like this. Yeah, and they sound good in the 6 as well. And I built this off of the strings too. I've split everything right now, so but otherwise you would see your other melody parts, as I say, in every single tutorial. But yeah, for tips when making like these types of sounds, like if you have a lot of melody parts, you don't want it to go crazy like this over here all the time. Maybe one part in this you can go crazy, but the other one needs to be kind of chill, because otherwise the beat will sound like chaos. So it goes a little bit more crazy over here. And then we have the hits, which are in like every single hit is like E4, E5, G sharp 4, G sharp 5, like that. The darker tones just makes it more mighty. Yeah, adds a lot of energy to the beat. And then this piano part is like, you know, when you hear a beat and some melody part stands out, which gets added in later in the melody. This is supposed to be that part, so it sounds like this. together with everything else, this sounds really good, and this stands out in the melody. This is like the part that people will remember if I can explain it like that. But like when you think of the beat, I want them to think of this piano melody. So yeah. Then for the climax, we have a guitar. I remove a couple of I remove the Caribbean sound while this is playing, because this takes up so much space, and the beat will sound like too crazy if you have the Caribbean as well. The listener won't be able to focus on like anything. So yeah, this is how it sounds anyways. Yeah, and the key for the guitar is like having these single notes hit like this, because they create a certain feeling and adds a lot of energy. Because if it's only like long notes, it will sound kind of boring almost. It's like not this makes it so much more energetic, especially if it's supposed to be playing in the climax of the beat. So start off making like longer notes, and then try making single hits or like single notes like this to wherever you think it will sound good in your head. Then we added some snares and a clap. So what I did with this, I just went here, started placing out like stuff at the regular spots, like over here, like, but with the clap. Then I started with the snare, the typical spots, like let's say the clap would be like this. Then you have like a snare hitting like there, you have the clap, you got a snare hitting like this, like the typical patterns. And then I would add like the snare 2 would hit like somewhere here or something. So you can just play around with that. So I went a little bit more crazy with these now. It's not only that, it's a little bit different. Like you can see the snare. Okay, not this one. Snare 1. Yeah, you can see like it hits at that regular part as well as over here, but you have a couple of more hits in between, and at the ending you have 3 hits. And you see like this. And it's just because I wanted to change it up at least for this beat, for how the snares and clap sounds. Not as much snare rolls in this beat, because it's too much. It would be too much to have that. Yeah, so it's kind of basic, but it's more advanced than just the standard patterns that everyone uses. And yeah. So I have 2 808 parts. What I do is like I go in here, and let's go to the 808. And I would place the notes like here, wherever it sounds good, like very basic pattern. And then I go into the piano roll and edit that pattern. So, I listen a little bit, cut up some parts, stretch some parts, change the key of some parts. And this is how it sounds. Yeah, so it's kind of basic still. What I do then, I go back here, I right click and play, I clone it. Then I go back into the piano roll, control drag, control C, and then I go into the 808-2 pattern and control V to paste it. And what I do here is just I change it up a little bit, try to have a more energetic ending in the second part of the 808, so it's not the same as the first pattern for your 808. And let's see. Yeah, I can play around with those notes as well, like making short hits. I'll go over the mixing and what you need to do with the settings for the 808 soon, but yeah, let's continue. And then we have the hi-hats. Sound like this. Yeah, so it's kind of basic. You just choose a hi-hat, right click it, fill each 2 steps. Then you go in here and you do the quick legato to stretch out the notes to each other. And then you can just split a couple of notes, like change the key. You can also change the what's it called? the panning. So I try to like play around a little bit with this to pan the hi-hats, but just a little bit, to create like the listener won't recognize it, but it still adds a little bit to how the listener perceives the hi-hats. So yeah, but this is still a very basic pattern for hi-hats. You can go way more crazy than this, but as I said, the melody parts takes up so much space, so I don't want to go too crazy with those. Let's go to the kick. The kick is very basic, so what I would do, I would listen to the 808, and then I'd go in here and place every time the 808 hits in like the most basic spots, and then I would just yeah, and my kick is very low, so you will see in the mixing parts how I've done with it. Then I added I also added the crash first, so the crash always hits in the beginning like this. Then I'd add an open hat that like hits every once in a while like this, and yeah, that's basically it. So before I go into the mixing, I'll just show you what I do with stuff. So the snare, the clap, the hi-hat, I go in like this. I trim it all the way and I normalize it. And yeah, that's just because I want it to be like sounding clear and hitting when it should hit and stuff. And for the 808, I right click this, edit in audio editor, mark it like this, go here, and then detect pitch regions. You can see it says C2. That's how I know it's gonna hit in C. So I don't need to go and change it here. But this is very important, because if it were to say D there, you need to right click the D key. Otherwise it won't be in key and it will sound shit. So yeah. Anyways, go over here and cut it. Go over here, and if it's like looping, it's marked red or something like here. Just don't use the loop points. And then you go here, you have this fully maxed out and all the other ones like off. What this does is like when the 808 stops in the piano pattern, like it will stop. It won't have like an after sound that follows towards the next 808 hit, so it will still sound like crazy. That's also what the cutting does. You can, for the kick, just trim it and cut it. Yeah, so that's that. And then we'll go into the mixing. For the master, I have a soft clipper for it not to distort. I have a Maximus. I put this in low. Then you go here, the arrow, presets, mastering, master 8.1. What you'll hear is like everything will sound super loud. That's just to get a more clear view of how to mix it. Like it will make it easier for you to mix it. So for the melody parts, all these, you can see I only have an EQ. What I do is I press this arrow, enable heat map, I play it, and then I see how much bass I can take out. I want to take out as much bass as possible on the melody parts to leave room for the 808 to hit hard. A problem with this though can be like the brass and the hits take up a lot of bass, so what you can do with them is like, let's see if I can find them. Where is it? Yeah, so this one, you can see it's still mixed in the bass, because if I were to take out too much bass of the hits, the hits will sound very shit. So you'll just have to compensate and mix your 808 good for it to sound good together with the hits and brass. Anyways, for the snare, clap, hi-hats, I have, of course, I take out as much bass as possible. And then I have a steer enhancer. This knob would be like this. You just max it. It'll sound even louder, and just to get a more clear view of how you want your drum to sound. This is the 808. I won't touch the volume on this, but I got an EQ. I take as much low end as I can. If the 808 is already loud enough, I'm just gonna increase this a super little. Like the third and the second dot, I would just place them right here under the bass and maybe drag them up a little bit. You can play around with sub bass too, depending on how much you want. This already had a lot of sub bass, so I just left it there. I didn't increase it or anything. The kick, this is not the kick. Yeah, this is the hi-hat. This is the kick. I just do this with the kick. Take out low end and sub bass. Place these down a little bit because I don't want the kick to like take up any space almost. It's just add a little extra, you know. It's like it's almost not even hearable, but if you remove the kick, you will hear it. You can have your kick hitting real hard in your beats. It's just personally in this beat there was too much going on. The 808 was already hard enough, so I just wanted a little bit of kick, you know. And this is a crash and open hat. I don't do anything on these. I just fix the volume a little bit. Yeah, that's basically it. I added a couple of like a riser and like it's not a riser, but it like prepares the listener for the beat to go into the verse. Sounds like this. Yeah, okay. Now these were playing as well, but you heard it. For the beginning, it sounds like this. Just added like a couple of just random sounds because I thought it was kind of funny, but it sounded good too. So.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Yeah, and just my tag. Anyways, you don't need to have that, of course, but let's play the whole thing. This is how it sounds.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
So you can hear like the brass carries this beat and the piano just adds more energy in the middle of it. And yeah, so if you don't know how to build a beat, like this is my simple build. I just introduce the main part of the beat, like the strings, introduce the brass, the main melody part, and the hit, and then you just have a simple riser for it to go into the drop. Add a lot of stuff, you know, 808 pattern 1 here, 808 pattern 2 there, a little bit of kick. I don't want to have like the open hats at once, because then it will be like, whoa, like too much. But I add them later and remove the kick. And as you can see here, I take out the Caribbean melody part because the guitar together with this is sounding clogged. It's sounding too much. Then you go in here, you make it drop into the verse, have the crash hitting. Leave like the space for the listener to breathe, or like the rapper or whatever, but you still have the main part here, and then you slowly introduce, you have the 808 hitting here, and slowly introduce the drums again, as well as the melody part. And then you can do this for like the 808, you have like half of the first pattern hitting here, then you have the whole second and half first, and then you have the riser going into the hook again. Then I have a master volume slider at the end. What you do is you just mark it like this. Go in here, right click, create automation clip. Then you can drag it and edit it for it to end. I also have the crash heading here. But yeah, hope you guys learned something. I appreciate you.